Okay, so I just had some weird technical difficulties. Let's hope that this actually is going on the interwebs. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to re-record this video, and I am a tired man. I don't want to have to go through that. Actually, let me check right now. Joop boop 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 joop. Doop 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 doop. Doop 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 doop. Every once in a while, I have issues with the interwebs, where the internets will not like the fact that I'm streaming, such as Doan's internet isn't always the most wonderfulest. You know what? Let me just follow this link. I'll see if I'm live. Because if I'm not live, I'm just gonna quit. Because there's no use in me streaming when I'm not actually streaming. Because I don't know where this goes in the interwebs. Probably goes to some weird guy who sits in his basement and just wants to watch Kale do dumb things on the internet. Just jerk. This isn't for entertainment processes. Ooh, I'm listening to myself.
Follow this.
This is a weird latency. I'm actually like 15 seconds behind myself.
I'll see if I'm live.
Oh, so I'm going to be dancing while watching myself look very bored. Nice.
I'm not actually.
Okay. All right. Let me jump into AutoCAD. Oh, I opened up 2 instances of the drawing. Oops. No. I only want 1. All right. So this is the playground that I left off. You'll notice in this view, there's all my trees, there's my hedges, there's my parking lots, there's my bushes. Nice. I'm gonna run in here quickly. It's one of the things that I think needs to be done is I actually need to go into my pavement structures, my parking lots. I need to specify that they're parking lots and not just sidewalks. So I'm gonna hatch them, okay? So first thing I do is I get on my parking lot layer, I type in hatch, or you can go click on the hatch command, wherever that is. And then I'm gonna pick settings, go to T, and it'll open up my settings file, and let's see, I want, first of all, my scale, what, we had it at 350, I think, 400. We'll just start out with a 400 scale, and oh no! I'm gonna go back into T. Don't hit enter, just click out of it. For what would look good for pavement structure, probably something like ANSI 33, ANSI 34. It's nothing fancy. I'll have it go at an angle of about 35 degrees. And then I will add pick points. And you'll notice if I click here, okay, 400 is a little bit too big of a scale, but I'll go ahead and put in all of my pavements, and I'll have them all be at the same angle, be the same format. Okay, for each of these, I'm going to go ahead and pave them and make them 7 inches deep. Okay, now I don't like this setting, and so I'm just going to go back and hit T. We'll pick ANSI 36. It's not even showing me the swatch right now, I don't know why. And I'll make the scale jump down to 300. I'll hit preview. It should change all of them. You'll notice everything is different. I think I actually used that swatch last time. Nice. Good job, Kale. 35 degrees, though, isn't enough. I'm probably going to make it like 120 degrees, something like that. So it's pointing a different direction for my hedges. So I'll hit escape to go back to my menu. Change this to 120. Change this away from, maybe I'll go to ANSI 38. Hit preview again. That is a very interesting swatch. I'll give you that. ANSI 38 would probably be fine. Again, companies will have standardized hatches that mean certain things. For me, I am just picking a pavement. That looks good for me, so I will right click. Good to go. Now I have hatched pavements, I have hatched bushes, I have hatched flower beds. Those are my flower beds, and each of those hatches means something different. Huzzah! Here's my lake. I think this is pretty good looking. We're at a good place where most things now have been defined. I haven't picked what pieces I want to go to make structures out of. I don't know what my foundations look like. I don't know what the structure looks like. I don't know what the cross-section view of the pavement looks like. I don't know all the little details, but from a Google Maps view, this is what it's going to look like. And that is important. The details are what we're going to be working on the next few weeks, okay? We have everything in place. Some of it's dimensioning, some of it's like all these trees, dimensioning where these tree locations are. We're gonna have to go in and put a node location for each one of them, which that is going to suck. But we will deal with all of that at some point in the future. But for this point, we got this, it looks nice. I'm gonna go ahead and turn back on my zones layer because one of the things I did not do, I just put a random hatch up here for each of these. It's gross. It's super gross. So, this one's brick. I'm gonna delete all of my different hatch definitions. And actually I'm gonna go into my layers and shut off every other friggin' layer except for my zones. Doop, 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 doop. And it'll give me a warning at some point because I'm gonna turn off the pavement. Yep. And that's my current layer, so if I draw any lines without changing my layer, they will show up as an invisible. So before I do anything, I had best switch to my zones layer, because otherwise I'll draw stuff and be like, well, why are my lines showing up? Well, it's because lines aren't showing up. Go ahead and delete this, and delete this. Oh, what layer did I create the boundaries in? Oh, I need to turn on my boundaries layer again. Nice, I forgot to put the boundaries in the layer. Okay, now I'm gonna rehatch everything, but I'm gonna make it a little bit more standardized so that it looks a little bit more professional than just random hatches. Okay, so I'll go into my settings. Oh, it's actually showing my swatch right now. Nice, a little late, but nice. AR B816, I believe that's brick. It's a different kind of brick. Another different kind of brick. Not sure what that is. But I am going to take, I have a grass layer. A grass layer is going to, I put it in my meeting space last time. It needed to not be in my meeting space. But I'm going to keep my scale at 300. Angle I'm going to bring back to 0. I'll pick this point right here, and that is my open space. Okay. Meaning there's no, it's the open space zone. It's not intended to be a lot of people. There'll be a couple benches that all will go into detailing later, but and I got that one. Okay. Then I'll hit hatch again. Go into my settings, hit T, and now for my meeting space, I want something a little bit more. All these ISO lines usually define like metal materials, which are awesome. Swamp. Dang, I love these things too much. You got a net layer, line, hound, honey. There we go, honeycomb. No, but I'm just gonna go to a very, ooh, that one's neat. A very standardized just angle. Okay, and I'm gonna do that for actually 2 of them. So here I got it at angle of 0, scale of 300. I'm gonna go in, add pick points, pick it right here. Now that's a little bit too tight. So I'll hit T again, go in there and scale this up to 350. Okay, that's still a little tight, so I'll hit T, go in there and scale it up to 400. Okay, a little bit less tight, but not terrible. This is my meeting space. Now all of this right here is, well, I have my playground extend out to there, so I should probably fix that. But this isn't my meeting space. This is kind of open space. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit escape. No, I'm gonna hit undo. U. Pick an internal point here. Oh, U. Something it does not like. So I'm gonna hit escape and try to figure out what's going on here. What line are you in? Why are you not letting me? It's in my zones. Don't quite understand what's going on there. But since my hatch isn't working very well, I'm going to create a polyline, and I'm going to forcefully create that polyline to enclose the space that I want it to. Why am I choosing a polyline? Well, it's because a polyline I know will close. Now when I'm done with it, I actually have drawn an enclosed surface, so I'll hit the letter C to close it, and now I have a single polyline that defines that exterior. And then I can go back into my hatch. All of my settings should be saved from my last time, which it is. I'm actually going to bump this up to 500 because it's still too small. I'll pick this area right here, and we will call that good. Okay, so this is my meeting area. This is my grassy open area, and I have to define playground and this. I'm going to go ahead, double click on this. Oop. Never mind. I'm going to go in and hatch, change my settings. I'm going to go ahead and define this space over here, which I probably should bring this line over, but at this point I don't care enough. I'm going to call it open zone. You know what? I should. Before I do anything, I should. I didn't want to, but I did. So much work. I've just been talking nonstop today. Bring out my playground to the edge too here. I will define this as open space because I want it to be open. I don't want any structures to be there. I don't want a whole, I mean, it'll be trees there, but I want it to be more open than meeting reserved. So I'll go ahead and bring in the same settings I had for here, which I believe was 300. And I used grass. And pick points. Might be, yeah, I picked 300. And then I'll hit enter to select it. So now I've defined my open zones. I'll go ahead and create a playground zone. T for settings. And go in here. I could do ANSI 31. Oh, let's try ANSI 32. Now, because they're both at the same angle, I kind of want in there to be 120 degrees between these. So I am going to actually type 120 for the angle. No, sorry. I'm doing 60. Okay, and I am going to change the scale from the other one was at, what, 450 or 500. I want to change that one now to 600. Okay, and you'll be able to see a visual distinction between this one and this one when I click it. They're visibly different because they're at a different scale and they're at a different angle. The boundary between them is fairly visible. When you're doing hatches next to each other, it is important that there is some visual boundary between the two different areas. And I like the way that that looks, so I'll go ahead and hit escape, escape, saves it. I go hatch again, settings, and now I've done ANSI 31, ANSI 32. I'm gonna pick ANSI 33. Scale on this one, I'm just gonna make it 500, so it's slightly different than this one, 550. And then I'm gonna make the angle at 120. So add pick points, pick here. Again, it's visibly distinctive from this one because now they have these dashes. It's not quite nearly as large, so I might go back in and instead of making it 600, maybe make it 700. Hit preview. Now it's visibly distinctive again. I'll go ahead and pick or press escape to return to dialog, or right click to accept hatch. Right click, accepted, escape, get out of the hatch settings, and there my zones have been drawn. I redrew them to make them a little prettier. Okay, so if I go into my sheet right now, what it sees is everything that's on my model view that's active. That's kind of a problem because I don't really want that. What I do want is I want to be able to see very specific layers on my layout sheet. Now that I have all these details, and I could go in and I could redefine the pavement structures, but for the general, if I go back in and I turn on everything again, turn on everything. Oh, keep turn layer on. I think there's actually a command to turn them all on. If I do this, and I go in here and I hand in this, this looks terrible. This is absolutely egregiously awful. This looks gross. So what can we do to clean this up? Well, in general, we have everything that we want here. We have all of our pavement in, we have where everything is going to be, we have the locations, we have the overall dimensions, we have everything where we want it to be. But the issue is we don't have, this isn't print quality yet. This isn't something that's useful if you hand it to somebody. It's a giant gross mess. If we've done all of our layers correctly though, it's really easy to clean this up. And that's what we're gonna do in our next video. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, okay, I've got this cleaned up. I have everything created the way that I want it to. We're gonna go ahead and move on next to talk about the next drawing. So I will. Okay, no technical difficulties this time, which is nice. Haven't seen any issue. This is where we left off. We have this beautiful looking file. It's pretty nice, and it looks good. Now, one of the students noticed that there was an issue in the file that I uploaded that it did not have the symbol. I'm going to re-upload that file, but I'm going to show you how to create this from start. So I'm going to actually start by taking this one and deleting it. Get out of here! And now I'm going to create a brand new one. So I don't care where your template status is right now. I'm just going to create a brand new sheet called From Template. So right click, go to From Template, go to the AutoCAD drawing file that I gave you, hit open. It'll ask you which layout you want. You want Eng Sheet. It'll create a brand new sheet down here. First thing you should do is rename it. Okay, we're going to call this 1 because it's going to be sheet 1 in our layout. General overview. Okay. So I gave it a sheet number. I gave it a general overview. We're in a good place. Okay, now when it comes in, it just comes in looking like this. Oh, that's gross. Oh. For some reason, it layers 2 on top of each other. I need to fix that. I'll have to fix that in the template file I gave you. Nice. Good job, Kale. Because I changed class name and I'm just gonna make this space. Ignore that one. The first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to specify, okay, we're doing this not in inches. We'll change this value to architectural. Drawing scale is something we're gonna get back to. Initials, I'm gonna change this to CJS. And then we know that this page number is 1. We don't know the other page numbers, so we'll have to come back in and fill that in later. I do not know why drawing name. Oh, there it is. Is not showing up. It wasn't showing up there, but it is now for some reason. Okay, my drawing name. This is the general overview. Some companies will have very specific ways that they name their files. Here, it's not something that's super important to me. Just make sure it fits in the box. Okay, everything else should be nice and pristine. Okay, so now we just have a basic layout. Sweet. So I will now add in a viewport. So I'm going to go into my layout tab. I'm going to just click rectangular. Click up here at the top right corner. Drag down here. And you'll notice that this thing fills in completely. Now, the layer that I'm in, if I go, is in the construction layer. I actually want to switch that to, I created a layout tab, didn't I? Didn't I? Viewports, there it is. Viewports, same color. In my viewports tab, it also doesn't print. So I'll set this to my current layer. Nope, yeah, well for now. So now I brought this in, I've got my drawing, awesome. Now I do have everything on, but I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna turn things off now. First of all, before I do anything, double click in here. I'm now in model space, okay? Difference between paper space and model space. Double clicking in viewport makes me put in model space. This is critical, you have to do it in these steps, okay? Once you're in model space, you go into your home tab, into your layer properties, click on your layer properties, and this brings up all of the layers. What I'm going to do here is, I'm going to do a viewport freeze, okay? What you can do with a viewport freeze is by freezing some of these, you'll see that it turns a little bit blue in there. This isn't the same as, what is this? Oh, oops. I want to organize it by name. By doing so, I freeze the layers as they are currently at. So if I just go to, let's say I'll do the top half of these, okay? Just clicked viewport freeze on them. And then I go back into my model and I were to now shut everything off. You'll also notice I don't have a viewport freeze layer here. I'm just gonna turn everything off. Except for zones. Okay, now when I go back into my general overview, oh, it did the same thing. Layer properties, it was supposed to freeze those. Should have kept my foliage at least. Nice work. Okay, oops, I did it exactly backwards. What you're going to do on your layout tabs is you're going to turn off the layers manually using the VP freeze. Okay, so here, if I just click out of this, you'll notice only my zones show up because on my model view, only my zones is active. But if I turn everything on, which I should do now, they're all on. And I go into my general overview tab, I can shut off my layers because I'm still in my model space here. I don't want to see construction lines. I don't want to see def points. I don't want to see foliage. I don't want my trees to show up. I don't want any grass to show up. I do want my lake to be on. I don't want any lights. I want to keep any notes that I have. But I am going to take out my pavement structures because my pavement structures don't matter. I'm also going to take out my trees. Okay, and I'm going to keep the zones. I'm going to keep the lake. And you know what? I'm actually going to keep the sidewalks. Oh, dang. I'm hitting the light bulb instead of the VP freeze. Come on, Kale. You're supposed to hit the VP freeze to shut them off. Foliage, grass, keep a lake on, lights off, notes on, pavement on, but not the parking lots. Oops, I just turned off the wrong one. Not the parking lots. Turn the play surface off. Turn off the playground because I don't want those equipment showing up. Turn off the trees. Keep on the viewports, keep on that. Okay, so now when I click out of this, you'll notice I have my sidewalks show up, my lake shows up, and my zones show up. When I double click out of it, that's it. That's what I see. Now I like to keep the sidewalks in because the sidewalks they draw interesting lines that kind of show where certain features are. It doesn't really show where each of the parking structures are. It doesn't show where the buildings are. But it does segregate things well into nice little sections. Okay, so I'm going to keep the pavement in. And this is generally how I want this to look. Now, if I go back to my model view, everything still shows up. But going into my general overview, only the ones that I have frozen show up. That I haven't frozen show up. That's kind of how I want to keep it. So you will need to make sure that in this layer, that you have everything turned on visibly, but that you freeze in the actual model, that you freeze the ones you want to be off. Okay. So we'll click back out of this. Now the second step of what we need to do is we need to rectify what that scale is. I have everything visible that I want to be visible. I went into layers, turned everything on, froze the ones I didn't want to do. You notice that doesn't show up because I'm not in my viewport. Those are all frozen, half on. So if I click out of there, then you can actually have different ones where you do it by space or by viewport individually, which is kind of nice because it means you can have one viewport showing one thing and another viewport showing the same thing, or you could have it just generic. If I were to, without being in model space, go in here and layer properties, I could go in here and shut off zones. You're supposed to be able to shut off zones and... Oh, nope. Apparently you have to do it by viewport. Huh. Never mind. We'll ignore that. But yeah, you have to go into your viewports and shut off what layers you don't want to see in that viewport. That's your step one. Step two is now we need to get this to an appropriate scale. So I'm going to double click in here, get back into model space, and then I'm going to hit Z. Okay, Z for zoom. Now I am going to want to zoom scale. So you can either come down here and click on scale or type in S. Zoom scale factor. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and type 2. We'll see if that's huge or tiny. If I zoom in and zoom out, well, it's actually really huge. So 2 is not going to cut it. So I'm going to go ahead and type in C. Well, for my scale, what I want is this is 600 feet long by 400 feet long. 600 by 400, I have 600 feet long. 600 feet long is, in the AutoCAD, it's going to be 600 times 12 is 7,200 units long. What I want it to be is, okay, if this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, I want it to go from about right here to about right there, which is about 6 inches long. So what I want is I want 1 inch to equal 600 feet. So that is a scale of 1 inch. 1 inch on my page is equal to 1,200 units. So I will go ahead and type, oh, I don't want to scale, I want to zoom. Scale, and 1 divided by 1,200, do that on my calculator quick. 1 divided by 1,200 is equal to 0.00083333333. Okay, I do it there, and now this is 6 inches long, okay, by 4 inches tall, and that is the scale that I do. So Okay, yep. So that's it. And now I can pan this view by holding down my center mouse. I won't scroll at all. I know that this scale is 1 inch is equal to 100 feet. So down here in my scale, if I double click out of my model space, it doesn't quite look like 1 to 100. I hope I didn't do that wrong. It doesn't look right. Why doesn't that look right? Nice! Problem is I have huge dimensions right now because I messed that up. Go back to standard. Do a dimension from here to here to here, and that is 4 inches. Which, yeah, I mean, that almost looks right. Here to here, this you'll notice comes out as 400. Now this 400 does not look like that 4 inches. So I did something wrong. Not really sure what I did. I calculated my measurement incorrectly. Drat. Why aren't those the same size? Those should be the same length. 4 inches equals 400 feet. But instead, that's like 1.5 times smaller. So that's interesting. It's registering that's correct at 400 feet, but oh, who knows? Go back in here, zoom, scale. So let's try 1 to 1200. Oh, it doesn't let you do that. Well, that's sad. I don't know what number X is. So 000833333, and it's just going to be stuck there at that. Oh, maybe I need to make my viewport fill the whole screen. I think that's what it is. I'll stretch my viewport down to the bottom. Go into my model space, zoom, scale, 0.0008333. Yeah, and there, that's the appropriate size. It's dumb. It's relative to the size of this thing, so whatever. You'd have to make your viewport specific sizes and then calculate that based on how they show up, which I don't want to do, but it is what it is. So, all right, now I have my dimension, I have my drawing appropriately scaled. I'm going to put this in the center here, come over here, and now I will go to my dimensions layer, and I will actually put in dimensions. Now, first thing I'm going to do is, you'll notice I am in the paper space right now. I'm going to click on this corner, go over, click on this corner, and we're going to bring it up about right there. And I already set up my dimension layer. That was actually the first video that I put together. So I know exactly what this looks like. So I have 600. pick that node, pick that corner, bring it out. 3.5 inches, nice. Escape, escape. I shouldn't have picked the node. Because when I picked the node, I was actually picking the dimension line. If you're having that issue, you can go to your OSnap settings and turn off nodes. But there, now I have 600 by 400. Okay, that's awesome, but I want to kind of provide some dimensions generally for my different zones. And I'm going to need to, to create a guide that shows what my zones mean. So to start, I'm actually gonna have to move this over a little bit. Go back to my paper space. These dimensions don't mean anything anymore. I'll have to redraw them. So I will do that. I'm gonna give a little bit more space so that I can put the dimensions right underneath it. These 3 dimensions have to go in. So we'll go to this spot, oh, oop, I don't want 2 inches. So I'll undo. Oh, I don't want to select the node itself. Kind of want to dimension this line. We'll bring it up here. So that is 233 feet 4 inches. I'll dimension this line here, and I'm going to bring it up and put it right next to that one so that they're in line with each other. And then I'll click on this line, bring it up, and set it there. So there's my dimensions up top. Now I'll do the side dimensions. First of all, we'll start with the overall dimension. Bring it over about right there. Okay, and then this one here. Oh, I just need to turn off that object snap, turn off my nodes. Where's my node? No. There we go. Scroll down to here, bring it about right there. Do the same for this one. I will put it at the same place. And then do the same for this one. So this one I can just click on the line and drag it out and put it in the same place. So I have all my dimensions now that basically define everything. I did not define what this width is here. This is probably the only line I'm going to have to dimension still. So I will grab that, bring it down, hit escape, and you'll notice that from geometry, I can figure out where all of those vertices are, just looking at them. And as long as everybody can figure out where the vertices are, that's important. So here I know this is 40 feet, and it is, I mean, we could dimension how long that is if we really wanted to, but it is possible to figure it out because it's 40 feet, but that's 260 feet plus 108 feet minus 166 feet 8 inches to get to there. You can figure out that length, or you can actually just put it down on paper because we have a 1:100 scale and they can measure it. If they really needed to identify where the end of that zone was in a hard place. Says this is very succinct dimensioning. Again, I could put that dimension down there. It's unnecessary because it's redundant. And sometimes putting in redundant dimensions can be a problem, but I won't do that. Now what I'm going to go do is I need to, and I should have done this before, I need to create Ooh, nice. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create 4 different viewports that just show zones. And it's just going to focus on the scaling on the hatching. And I'm going to use that as a way of showing off which hatchings mean which zones. Okay, and I'm going to create a notes file for that. But first we'll start out, go into our layout tab, create a rectangular layout. I'm going to put it on top of this view. It's going to be pretty small. Okay, you'll notice that that's really, really, really tiny. I don't want it to be that way. So I'm going to zoom in, and on this viewport, I'll go home, layout properties, and I will shut off everything but zones. Because all I care about is just seeing those zones. Okay, so everything is shut out except for this. Just my way of showing hatching. Nice. Probably hit you a bunch because I just messed everything up. Okay, I'm stuck here. I'm going to type P-space in, which goes into my paper space, which allows me to zoom out. If I double click out here, I go into the model space of the other one and I can mess up the other drawing, which is terrible. So now I have this one that shows off this hatching. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this viewport a little bit. And I'm going to put it into the viewports tab. What does that do? Well, it just means that that yellow box won't show up. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to put it here to here to here. And I have 4 different zones that I'm going to identify. I'll put in the note, zone 1, open, zone 2, this, zone 3 is this. But for now, I want to go back into P-space. For now, I actually want to double click on this one. Oh no! Okay, I don't know why I'm in that one. But I'm going to move over to a different zone so that I can see what the different zone looks like. I'm going to do that for all of these. I'm actually going to put this on a different layer temporarily. I'm going to put this in construction layer. Oh. And then I'm going to hide the construction layer. Okay, so you are, nope, I want you to be in construction. Okay, and it'll say 1 or more objects moved into a hidden layer. I can go back into my viewport. No. Set that active. And now because that viewport's hidden, when I double click on these, it won't go into that one. No, it still does. Dang it, why aren't you hidden? I'm supposed to hide that. Oh, I can do another thing. Just trying to access these viewports without accidentally clicking into the big one. So I'm going to move this, and I'm going to move it from here over 4 inches. Okay. And then I can always move it back later. But now I can access this without accidentally accessing the one underneath it. So I'll take this. I already got 1 representative of that zone. I'll move this into my parking. Double click out here, take this, and go into go. There it is. Sorry, my camera just died, which is always awesome. Stream problems. Okay, I'm gonna create a multi-text line, so I'm gonna go into notes. I'm gonna be writing in notes here. I can drag this over. Now, I do want the height of this to be about 0.1. I don't want it to be very big. I'll call this one Zone 1. Hit Enter and call this Open Space. Okay. And then I want a little bit of a separation here, so I'm going to move this over about 0.1 inches. So there's just a little bit of a separation there. And I'm going to copy that zone, go down, 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 and down. Okay, we'll call this one Zone 2, and that one was my playground. Okay, and then I've got Zone 3. I think that was... No, this one's my playground. Dang it. Yep. The last one's parking. And then Zone 4, which is meeting space. Okay, and now click back on this, move it over 4 inches so that it's back where it started. And this is going to be my top view. Okay, it shows each of the hatches, what they mean, where their locations are, dimensions, general overview. Okay, that's what I'm looking for your first page. Oh, I forgot to update scale. Scale here is 1 inch to 100 feet. Type that in there, fits in the box nicely, we're done. Okay. All right, we're good. This is page 1. So get this done by the end of the week. That's your major task. Clean up anything you think is necessary. We're going to work on detailing, putting in buildings, putting in playground structures. That'll be our tasks for the next few weeks. We're going to follow the same structure as far as setting up. I don't know why I'm looking at that camera. That camera's off. I'll see you guys next. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow or on Thursday. So